I think we're good. Maybe. Perhaps.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is it?
I think so.
On my end, it's still showing a hello. Anybody out there?
Are we live?
Just say hi if you can see us.
Say hi if you can see us.
Okay, I think they must
You're
be
saying hi.
Okay, hello. Welcome to a brand new adventure that began with a bang, and we'll hopefully continue to have bangs for Pat and I are just going to be banging it out for the next couple months.
Watch your words there.
All right. So what's going on, everybody? Welcome to KOTK. We got to play a guessing game where you all try to figure out what the K is. But first, it's myself, Zach from Switch Force, and Pat, NintenTalk from NintenTalk.
Yes.
And we are here to usher in a new generation of Nintendo Switch. I think, as you all know, we were Animal Crossing crazies for a while, and Pat obviously still is.
Yeah.
But Nintendo Switch has not had a game of that scope or popularity since. And there is one coming in a month. And so, as big Zelda fans, as big Breath of the Wild fans, we are ready to bless you with a weekly dose of Zelda discussion, banter, beef, maybe back and forth, and a whole lot of fun. So thank you so much for joining us, Pat. What do you think the K stands for?
Oh, and in the podcast name, I'm waiting for the guesses in the chat.
Okay.
Let's see, kings. I saw knights. We need some guesses. I'm voting knights. Kids or kings? Kings of the kingdom.
Clorox of
Gotta
the
look at
kingdom?
the logo. You gotta look at. Ooh, that would have been a good one. Prize of the kingdom with a K. Kiss of the kingdom.
Ooh, Kiss of the Kingdom. Sign me up, baby. I'm ready for
That's
that.
Hot. It is Kids of the Kingdom.
There you
with
go.
With a Z, right?
With a Z. I put that in there. You know, look, hey, we're just some
Zach's
kids.
getting old. He thinks Z is,
It's cool. We're just some kids trying to, play Switch on the internet, right? Both we're both in our 30s now. Yes?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so
we're hip.
We're hip. We know what's up. And we have absolutely zero beef. If anyone, thought there was any truth to that, there was not. So, yeah, Tears of the Kingdom is out in less than a month. The final trailer dropped. We've got a lot to talk about today, including that final trailer and sort of the overarching thought that, oh, this is DLC and how that now has changed given, or how it has not changed, I guess. Given the last trailer, we got to talk about the leak palooza that continues to erupt, and we got to take your questions. So thank you for being here. We will be going every week. We'll probably adjust the date like when the game comes out, because Saturday will be late. But hopefully we get it early. Hopefully it can be podcast
every week. So
every
get
week.
Used to it.
Yeah,
It's gonna be great.
This is not like Nook Talk where it's like, well, if they come out with something, this is we're here to stay. We're back. Let's do a little shirt reveal. All right.
Okay.
Wind Waker Ganon, rocking.
I don't have a Zelda shirt.
But look, this is
Emo band.
Yeah, this is some like kind of emo font here. So I think we're.
That's true.
We're kind of.
That's the most hardcore shirt you're gonna see Zach wear.
We are definitely matching it up. All right, let's kick it off with a bit of just sort of setup here. So Tears of the Kingdom out in a month. You got that console pre-ordered?
So here's my pre-orders. I have the console pre-ordered. I have the Pro Controller pre-ordered. I have the Amiibo pre-ordered. Not the special edition. I can't find it. I can't pre-order it. Yeah, the game itself. Yeah.
Okay. I got the game, the Pro Controller, and the console.
Okay. No Amiibo? Dude, come on.
What are they just re-releases? Are there new?
There's a new Tears of the Kingdom.
Yeah. Okay. Yes, okay. I will pick that up. But the real question is, why are we not getting that beautiful case?
Dude, how many cases do we need? Like, I can see consoles. I can see controllers. The case, they just slipped that in there. They put it right near the Pro Controller. Like, hey, buy both of us. Yeah, I'm not getting that. It looks cool, but I don't know.
I I wish that they had separate custom Joy-Con. I think that would, be fun for people. But I am looking forward. That console is actually coming. We'll do that on. We'll talk about that and show that on this podcast right here. That's out in less than 2 weeks. So that's out on the 28th. So that's coming quick. And then I'm gonna mod my Pro Controller. I already have the pieces, the parts, the tools, because I'm not happy with how not green that controller is.
That's true. Yeah. Oh, but we got to talk about the console though. Do we like the console? Lots of green hate though on the console itself.
Yeah,
I like the green.
You like the green pixels?
I like the green.
I like the gold on the console. I don't like the green on the I wish that the controller was green and the console was just like all gold and white, but
okay.
It's still dope. I mean, it still looks very, very good. And I'm excited to open that up and have a third OLED that does the exact same thing as the other OLEDs. Because you have the Splatoon one, right? Or did you?
I don't have
okay,
that.
okay.
I got the Pro Controller for Splatoon.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I have.
Did you get the Splatoon one?
Splatoon, Pokemon, and now Zelda.
Help this man.
I gave my OLED away though, so somebody has a signed Zach from Switchforce OG OLED out there. It's out there in the wild.
That's nice.
Okay, so we're loaded up. We're spending too much money, and we're ready for all the Zelda stuff. The special edition. What is even in that? Right, a map. I think it's
a giant Zelda box. That's all I need to know.
It's a giant Zelda box. I believe it's a map.
Something like coins or something. I feel like there's a coin in there.
The art book, right? The
art book.
The legendary leaked art book. A pin set. Okay. And a steel book. All right. Well, enough of the past. Let's look towards the future and get into this trailer. So both of us reacted to the trailer. I think, a lot of people probably already saw our just general thoughts on the trailer. But the big kind of question here is, did they show you enough to signify like 7 years well spent? Did they grab you in that way, or the conversation of it just looks like Breath of the Wild DLC? It's the same map and it's the same game and it's the same.
If you are still saying this game is DLC, I don't know what to say. Like, I really don't. Just because they're using the same map, just because they're using the same engine, there's so much newness, just intricate details that they've added in. What people don't understand is like the Breath of the Wild's development cycle wasn't because of this like crazy open world. It was because of the physics engine that they needed to like program and stuff. So like that's what took so much time. Tears of the Kingdom, I honestly was one of those people where it's like, maybe this is glorified DLC until that 10-minute gameplay. Once they had that 10-minute gameplay, I got it. Because, dude, that fuse mechanic is so well done and intricate. And a lot of people are saying, like, why isn't this used in other games? No developer wants to go through that. Like, there are so many items that interact. There's probably hundreds or thousands of combinations for shields and swords and arrows and stuff. That 10-minute thing, which I don't think was planned, by the way, from the Zelda team. Nintendo, I think, nudged them to, like, let's show something. That won me over, for sure. I mean, I was always buying this game, but the 10 minutes, dude, that was better than the last trailer.
Really, for you? Okay. All right.
10 minutes. I got more out of it.
Yeah, I think that's fair in terms of, signaling what the heck is this game and why is it different? Why is it Tears of the Kingdom? Because there was just so much confusion or questions or just uncertainty on what it would be. Now, yeah, you mentioned thousands of combinations. These poor developers that have been sitting there for 7 years, like, okay, what happens if we combine shield with sword? What if we combine, rock with shield? What if we combine mushroom with sword? Like, that had to be, because it's not just like, oh, these items have their own properties and then you combine them and, oh, it magically works. Like, they each have to be designed and then they have to be designed as a cohesive unit. And I'm sure, like, there will be some overlap, right? Like, I'm sure there'll be a category of like fire-based items that all turn fire arrow or all turn arrows into fire arrows, right? I don't think it's going to be like, well, this one shoots out, fireworks and this one shoots out a fireball. But nonetheless, it is insanely I don't think that, like you said, I don't think that the undertaking that is fully understood by like the average trailer viewer. Like it's like, oh, okay, what, you can fuse it. I mean, it took me eons to fuse my logo together for my new PFP. Like that.
Sharp.
Yeah, that's
like
that took forever. That green goo, you get it on your hands, it don't come off. It's kind of like you need a little goo gone to rub that off. But yeah, I think you're right that had more impact. But I do think that last trailer was finally like, okay, like let's show him a little bit, because every other trailer was just, hey, Link is falling, Link is running,
Yeah.
like that's, Zelda's sad. But this, we got a bunch of characters, and we got a lot that shows like, okay, this is not just Breath of the Wild or even Breath of the Wild with Fuse. This is vastly different areas and vastly different mechanics. I think it's something that we'll touch on it probably multiple times today, but there is something very fishy going on with the group mechanic in that trailer. And I think of all the things that to me stood out as like, what the heck is going on here? I mean,
like when they were saying you're not alone, and then you see like Sidon fighting with us. That's what you're talking about, right?
And there's a scene where Link is on a horse riding through like 7 other like NPCs battling, and then he's carrying them in the cart. He's like on horse and cart, and he's got like 4 dudes in the back. I don't know if this is just like a side quest, like a transportation service, but they clearly, with the Sidon stuff, they really tried to show like, okay, you're going to be fighting together, and it almost feels like the Age of Calamity team was like, we got cool stuff over here. Let us lend you some tech, and maybe they're putting some sort of strange RTS NPC Pikmin group fighting mechanic in.
It'd be nice to get like help from companions. I kind of like there's a similarity. Well, the only similarity in Breath of the Wild, when you swipe in the Wolf Link amiibo and like Wolf Link can fight with you for a little bit. I think that they handled that kind of well. Like, it doesn't overstay its welcome. It's not like too overpowered. If there was a way to like swipe in like one of the champion amiibos and they fight with you, like that would be cool. I would like that.
Go ahead.
Oh, but I was gonna ask the chat and you, like, so we're on this whole like, oh, this is just glorified DLC. To you, like I said, it's the fusing mechanics, it's the new mechanics and stuff. What is it for you? Like, what is it? Do you look at and you're like, no, there's no way this is it the Sky Islands? Is it the
I mean, I think the easy answer is the fuse, but because you already said that, I will also go with those vast underground or back in time or whatever those areas are, that they really emphasized in this trailer, and you get to see even more of in the leaked commercial, which we'll talk about later. But that scope and scale, I think, just really does speak to, okay, there's more than just, hey, Ganon has, messed up the landscape of the Breath of the Wild map, and so you're going to be playing these areas. Hey, there's some floating blocks in the sky. I think those underground areas, especially the size, just made me really think, okay, like, whether these are dungeons, whether these are just missions, whatever they are, there's a lot here. And I feel like the scope of this game is going to be far more impressive than Breath of the Wild, which was already scoped, to hell and back. So I'll go with like, the fuse, but then also that mysterious underground thing is really doing it for me.
Yeah. And just to go back to the fuse mechanic, because that's like my favorite thing ever. Like the vehicles are really cool. The recent trailer, they showed that like tank thing.
The jetpack.
The jetpack too. That was cool. But not only like that you can fuse any item, which in itself is amazing. It's like the logic behind the fusion. Like, so it's like, okay, there's an eyeball C, put it on an arrow in the, like that's super smart. And I'm just literally all I'm going to do is try out every single item and see like what works. And, like the shield with the mushroom makes like a cloud of smoke. I think that's just like, it's just such smart game design.
Right.
The mechanic where you're reversing time and things, and you can also use that in battle, like that takes a lot of programming and time so that you can just reverse time whenever you want. They're saying I'm fangirling over this, but like if you really think about it, because a lot of people were like, well, you have the world built, you have everything built. Why is it taking 6 years? This is why.
Yeah.
They are like advanced mechanics. So that won me over. So.
It is fantastic. I think it's selfishly, it's fantastic for videos. There's going to be so many awesome options for like, oh my gosh, the fastest way to get from A to B, the best way to take down the worst weapon combinations. Like there's so many interesting ideas. And I think it's a real departure also for Nintendo, because I do feel, we talked about this a lot with Animal Crossing, they are more and more watching the community. They saw all the YouTube stuff that was made for Breath of the Wild. They saw all the, people still to this day are finding, crazy ways to speedrun, crazy ways to take advantage of the physics systems. And so they did respond to that by saying, hey, like, let's let the players really have almost like access to our tools, right? Like you get to fuse stuff, you get to create vehicles, you can do so much more yourself. And just for a little nod to Nook Talk, I think that bodes well for the next Animal Crossing. I think they should look at the community, but also let's do some item fusion for Animal Crossing. Let's fuse a workbench with a balloon.
And you know what? It's funny that you mentioned the community of things, because I feel like a lot of the ideas were definitely influenced from the weird exploits and things like that. I know Zelda, like hacking and whatever is a hot topic right now. Like videos are getting taken down and stuff. But like a lot of people in Breath of the Wild, created vehicles of their own. Like I know the classic, like you take 2 of the mine carts and then you can have like a flying machine. I definitely think they were looking at the community in that regard. Yeah, so that's cool to see.
Absolutely. Now back to the group fighting a little bit. The cooperative thing is still a little bit of a question. I'm fully convinced there's zero co-op in this. Like me and you playing co-op. Do you have any? Does any party think they're going to actually have co-op in there?
I don't think so. I don't know. It's a very like advanced world and stuff. I don't know if we're just going to be able to like drop in. I really do think it's going to be like call a champion or like call someone to like temporarily fight for you. So co-op though, I don't think we're there.
You think that it could be like at will, not just like, oh, this mission you're with Sidon, this mission you think like you could bring them.
It could be mission based. The recent trailer actually, when you mentioned he was like pulling the wagon full of the NPCs, though I'm pretty sure I didn't go like second by second, but like pretty sure you were taking them to the battle that was also shown in that trailer. So I think that was like one big storyline quest that they kind of showed. So I don't know if that's just one thing.
Well, then in sort of there's like a group shot where he's got like regular Hyrule citizens and he's got the Goron guy and Link ready to go. It does almost seem like you can like build a squad, but that would be such a departure for Zelda. Like maybe even more than the fusion, an idea where you can group up. I don't know. To me, it if this wasn't Nintendo, if this wasn't Zelda, I'd be like, is this live services? Is this world events? Are you, fight with your friends against the, like the what do you call it? The Red Moon comes up and there's world events fighting these little bosses. But it's just a very strange thing when they showed it 3 times. And like you said, it could be all part of the same quest. But 3 instances of group fighting. And I'm not even talking about the partner stuff with the champions. I'm talking just like random dudes with buckets on their hats being like, let's go to work.
Yeah,
I'm very interested maybe it's playing with the fuse. Maybe you're fusing the kingdom together by building, battalions.
Carrie in the chat says there's a case for Tears of the Kingdom at GameStop and shows 1 player.
Yeah.
So, I would love co-op. The big rumor when the trailer first came out was like, oh, is Zelda playable? Like, can we do this whole thing in co-op? I'm glad they didn't go down that route. I think it's an interesting idea maybe for like a spin-off game or something, but let me walk alone. Let me be alone in this. But yeah, you're right, because they did mention that, you're not alone. And I know that it's a reference to like the first Zelda game maybe, but it's interesting. Like Sidon was definitely fighting with you or whoever. So
I think that the final evolution of The Legend of Zelda is like, you do play Zelda. It's The Legend of Zelda. Like they're saving that one. They're saving that for some when they don't have a good idea like Fuse. They're saving that. The whole trailer was just very interesting because comparing and contrasting Breath of the Wild, we were talking a bit before we started about like shrines, dungeons, we don't get like any solid confirmation one way or the other. There do seem to be bigger areas, bigger puzzles, but it's very hard to tell, like, given the quick cuts, is this a shrine type thing? Is this just a quest type thing? Is this a dungeon type thing? What are your thoughts kind of on what happens in, 28 days? Are there going to be 7 dungeons and 7 tiers? Are there, or is it going to just be a random open
28 days? You just like, I'm so excited.
It's so crazy.
I think there's going to be dungeons. I really do. The interesting thing is we haven't seen any shrines on the map yet. We've seen these little swirly things, which a lot of people are saying they're fast travel. I personally think they maybe warp you to a shrine-like area. I like the shrines. I might be in the minority there, but I did like the sort of bite-sized puzzle experiences, get in, get out, because I wanted to just be in the world, Like sometimes when you're in a dungeon from past games, you're just like, man, I want this to be over. But like, I really do think that we're going to get them. I don't know how many.
Shrines or dungeons? Or both?
Dungeons.
Okay, dungeons, yeah.
Maybe both. I don't know. I don't know what the swirly things are, so I don't know.
I wonder if shrines are busted by Fuse, though. Like, that's what I was thinking about, of like, the puzzle solving you already can accomplish in multiple ways, but does Fuse make it so, like, is there just too much? I mean, I guess they could lock out what items are available in there. I'm just wondering how...
It could create really cool puzzles, though.
Like, they could. They'd be...
Maybe there's, like, a moving target that you need to find, like, the eyeball for. I just want, like, themed dungeons or shrines, because, like, one of my big complaints for Breath of the Wild was you go in a shrine, it's the same aesthetic, all 120. They look the same. So it's like, I want overgrown ones. I want, like, dark ones. And we did kind of see, well, we're getting to, like, leak territory, I guess. But, like, there is some, weird things with darkness and stuff. So Mike Odyssey is saying 4 major dungeons and 100 shrines.
I really feel like shrines are going to be ditched. I mean, those swirly things, fast travel's a fine idea. Maybe there's some other sort of puzzle or challenge. Perhaps it's not a shrine, but something else with Fuse or some sort of other. Maybe they're all races. Build a vehicle. It's like Banjo nuts and bolts. But I pray for dungeons. I think that will be the one thing that kind of takes the wind out of the sails. Like, obviously people still love the game, but if we do get it and there are no dungeons, or if there's divine beasts again, like, I got real nervous because in the trailer something's rising out of the sand, and I was like, oh my god, if we have like 4 new divine beasts, I'm gonna be really upset with this. So I really pray that there's dungeons. There's an interesting leak that got a lot right about fusing and about the last trailer, and they claim 7 major dungeons. So
okay,
we do see. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, like, just to touch on shrines again. Let's just say we got rid of shrines, right? That gets rid of a lot of gameplay. Because, like, dude, if each one of these shrines take you, I don't know, in Breath of the Wild, if they take you like 10 minutes, 120 times 10, like, that's a lot of gameplay that's just gone. So they kind of have to, like, add more things in. I really like the trial shrines in Breath of the Wild, where there's a little bit more to it. Eventide Island, things like that. Maybe that replaces it, but I feel like you need to keep something like that, because they don't want less content. Obviously, there's more content with the Sky Islands and stuff like that, but I don't know.
Well, we did see like a Death Star spinning shrine puzzle-y type thing. Like, Link is floating down, there's that circular orb, and then at a different point in the trailer, he's pushing a revolving lever, and there's like a gumball machine, giant, ancient gumball machine, and so that clearly is something, but that is within the world. That's not, like, transported to a different location. So I wonder if perhaps they, maybe using the fusion mechanic, since you've accessed the world, maybe the puzzles are more in the overworld as opposed to like, oh, you're, load screening into a separate shrine. But I could also see them using more of those trials as kind of their, maybe they have like, 30 of maybe the green swirls are like 30 different trials instead of, 120 shrines. Even though there are new mechanics, I feel like 120 more shrines would feel really odd.
Yeah, like I would definitely swap the 120 for like 40 quality trials.
Yeah.
Like I think that would be cool. And I don't know what those swirly things, we got to find a name for them, but like do they transport you to like this, void world where you do a trial? Like I don't know. But they seem to be everywhere. That's like one thing we are seeing consistently. Someone else asked about Clorox. What are your thoughts about dude, there's no way. So yeah, what are your thoughts about Clorox? 900 more? What are we talking here?
Plug your ears for the next 3 seconds if you don't want to be spoiled, because I know the answer. Do you want me to say it?
Well, you know it?
It's in the leaked commercial.
Oh,
it confirms one way or the other. I won't say it. We'll leave it to chance, but I'll say that I think that
because there's a Korok holding like a bag, but there's actually like Korok footage, like getting a Korok.
There's some stuff, but that confirms one way or the other.
Just say yes or no.
They're in there. Yeah. You see like the circular, like the it's yeah.
Okay.
I don't like the Clorox, so I joked in that video like this is the worst reveal because there's just too many. But I guess I would say to kind of all of this, I don't think that there's going to be like content drain. I think whatever they do put in, major dungeons, trial shrines, actual shrines, world shrines, whatever they put in, like there's no way that this game is reductive in any way. Like they're only building upon what they already have. So I don't think that's a concern. But to your point of like, hey, they all look the same. It would be neat if they were in the world, because then you could have sky ones, you could have underground ones, you could have, like you said, like overgrown. You could have all sorts of different kind of iconography, different kind of landscapes. That would be kind of a nice compromise, I guess, as opposed to wherever the heck Link goes when he goes into the shrine.
I just think going back to the Koroks, like, yeah, they upgrade your inventory, and that's like very useful. Don't get me wrong, but like obviously we know, well, some of us don't, but like the final thing that you get for them, I don't know. I kind of hope that they come up with a new system, like exchange 5 Koroks for like a piece of armor or something, like just something that's a little bit more deeper than that. That was my main thing, and it's like, I don't know. I climbed up the tallest mountain on the map, and I got a Korok. Like it just doesn't feel super rewarding after a while, after the 100th one. But
I wonder how interesting loot will be affected by the fuse mechanics, because if you think about it, like that now could make things insane. Like you could have a very rare item that fuses to make something super crazy. Yeah. And I guess you could just find like a rare sword, but I don't know. I feel like there's opportunities to do very interesting things, or multi-layered quests, like find the, I don't know if with weapons, if we're ever able to fuse more than 2 things, but if we are, like, what if there's like 4 corners of the map quest and you get like 4 weird gems and then you fuse them together and it makes, some crazy weapon. I think there's a lot of opportunities to make rewards more interesting because of that, or, give you a crazy battery, give you a really fast engine fan, what I mean? Like I think the fuse can offer better rewards. People have talked about, is there going to be some sort of progression system? Like, are you upgrading Link? Can you boot? I mean, you could trade in the.
It's probably going to be like a fuse plus or something.
Yeah, but but more of like a skill. Like, will there be sort of like a skill tree like type thing?
Oh, okay.
And honestly, to me, that would be the best use of the Koroks, was if they were like to boost that, because that would make them much more of a vital part of the game. But I personally don't think that they will go that RPG heavy. I mean, I think you'll upgrade Ultra Hand and Fuse and whatever, but I don't think it's going to be like Link unlocks swirling spin attack. But he does have that long jump in the trailer. What did you think about that? Twice he like leaps like Mario.
Yeah, and I didn't know if that was like an ability that you could get, or if that was just the platforms that he was jumping on.
Yeah.
We also got to think, these trailers are very deceptive too, because I remember a lot of the Breath of the Wild like hype trailers.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of what they showed was flashbacks. So it's like what they showed we couldn't really experience in the game. They were like flashback trailers or whatever. So, I mean, I think that's definitely like a gameplay thing, but I don't know if it was like the platforms or not, because then they also showed him like jumping into those like blue orb type things,
Yeah.
my mind immediately went to Mario. That's such like a Mario.
It's like
mechanic.
Galaxy. Yeah, it very much looked like that. He does leap off of just like plain cobblestone, but then he's leaping onto what looked like gravity platforms or something. So it's a bit hard to tell, but I would just absolutely love if Link can just long jump like that through the world. It would make, who needs the stamina bar when you can just long jump, across the map?
Maybe it's like boots that he's wearing or like armor or something. Like we have to go back to that.
We haven't seen it yet, but there is, I guess, the opportunity for fusion to apply to armor as well. Like if it applies to weapons, it applies to vehicles. Yeah, what if you can fuse a balloon with your boots and then you can, jump really, really far?
I wanted to ask you about, so the vehicle making, that's another like fusing mechanic. They showed in the reveal where it's like they're building this boat and then they attach motors to it and then you can get to the other side. I feel like it's very cumbersome though. It's like how much time are we going to spend making a vehicle to get to a chest like 20 feet away? Like could I explore and get there? Could I use a power to fly there? Like I want a purpose for the vehicles besides just a meme, like making tanks.
Well, it's like mini puzzle solving, right? Like sort of.
Yeah. And I'm hoping I'm sure there's creative ways that they're going to use it, but I don't know if I'm going to do it, but it just seems very like he did it flawlessly, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to make like a flawless.
You're worried that the actual system isn't going to the fan's gonna fall off, or you're gonna.
It looks simple enough, but I don't know if people are gonna go out of their way to make some crazy contraption just to get like a chest where you could probably like climb a rock and get it.
Yeah, I think that'll be interesting because in theory, you could fall onto anything, right? Like you jump from the sky and just float down to anything. So there must be a creative way that these things are only accessible, for certain vehicles. I think what's going to be nifty about that specifically is in the video they showed, okay, well, there's logs here and there's fans here and there's like, it's all right there. But what about ones where you're like, okay, how in the world do I get across this chasm? And you have to bring things or find things in, other parts of the map and then bring that vehicle kind of back over there. Like, will they go to that level of depth with the puzzle solving? The other thing to remember is like, we got a ton of abilities pretty early in Breath of the Wild. I assume that'll be the same for Tears of the Kingdom, but there's probably more than the 4 that they've shown. So there's even other ways to interact with the world. Do you speculate that we'll have all of the Sheikah Slate abilities back at some point? Like, do you think?
I don't know. I don't. Some reason I think we're not going to start on the plateau. I think it's going to be another.
They can't start on it, right?
That would be awful. Please don't do that. I don't know if it's going to be like as simple as Breath of the Wild was. Because, yeah, you're right. We got all the major powers and, that was kind of our like little playground or whatever.
Right.
But I think it would be really cool to save. I don't even know what it's called. The rewind power.
Recall. Yeah.
The recall.
Is it? Recall's the one that he like uses to go back up. Is that is the
Yeah, that's the one I'm thinking of.
All right.
But that would be cool to save like deeper into the story. So then we would have to make these crazy flying machines
that's a good
to
point.
Go up. So I hope it's not all there at the beginning.
Yeah, it looks to be that Link's, floppy arm is what gives him Ultra Hand and what gives him those abilities. So if he starts the game without that, there should be at least some rough gain, sequence. Do you think Link starts with long hair? A lot of people, when I was watching the trailer, were saying that they thought it was just like a cosmetic choice, but I think there's clearly a like.
Hasn't he had long hair in every trailer?
Well, yeah, he has some long hair and then some short hair, but I just don't know which is which. Like, it seems like there's some sort of time jump, or you're playing like the past or whatnot. I wonder. To me, like my best guess would be that the early area is long hair, and then like Zelda's like, dude, like cut the freaking hair. We got to get back to work. Ganon, Calamity Ganon's on the rise. Demise is here. Let's go. But in the trailer, he's wearing some crazy armor when he has long hair, which then makes me think that would be later. Sarah in my chat says it just grows over time, but I don't think there's any way that there's just a hair growing mechanic in the game. Like, I don't think Link comes and he's just giant mutton chops by hour 20.
How long have you played this game? Well, I have long, luscious hair.
On the floor, baby.
There's definitely a lot pointing to time travel, though.
Yeah.
And it's going to be interesting to see, like, how that plays out. Are you able to go back to Breath of the Wild time? Because this takes place after.
Right.
I think it would make some cool puzzle solving and things, but I don't know, like, how in depth they're gonna be with that.
I feel like it has to do something with the Zonai, with wherever Zelda's trapped, of either 2 time periods, 2 worlds. I saw some really crazy theory that I'm sure is not true, but I loved it, which was like long-haired Link is actually Ganon when he was a kid, and like you're playing as like a totally different character. I mean, that would be a mind-blowing thing. There's also the thing of there are, a lot of Links, right? Like it's not, I mean, this is the same Link as the last one, but there are multiple Links in like the Zelda overall multiverse timeline or whatever. So is it a different character? Does he just have, I don't know. I think the greatest part of that trailer is that it raised so many more questions than answers. And even though normally that's terrible for games, like we don't know how it plays, we don't know whatever, with this game in particular, it's a brilliant choice. And I'm so glad that they went the route of, let's be mysterious, let's be a little coy, let's beat around the bush, instead of just they could have done a direct, they could have done, an overview trailer, they could have really done that, but they're saving this, and it's generating a community. I mean, there's always a community, but it's really generating just all of this theory crafting, all of these ideas, and we play it for ourselves and we find out.
Yeah, I agree with that. Like the recent trailer definitely created more of a buzz. I feel like obviously seeing the mechanics was cool, but now we're seeing characters. Now we're seeing, they showed off Hatano Village and
very mushroomy.
Yeah,
very minishy.
I watched that on my second watch through, like after I made my video, of course, and I was like, damn, there's a lot of mushroom stuff here. But yeah, that was cool. There's like other little settlements and stuff. And I feel like that's what really got people excited, seeing characters and stuff. Because obviously the world is the main character, I feel. But yeah,
that's
seeing new characters.
The world is the main character.
I think it is.
Yeah,
100%.
yeah.
The music sounded great. Like everything just looks great. Actually, the during that 10-minute play thing, another reason, going back to the not DLC thing, did you take a look closely? And this is one of the first things I noticed. The water in the game looks way better. I know it's like a small little feature, but I think it looks way better.
Are you saying that they've improved the graphics in 7 years? Because I've seen a lot of people say that it looks terrible.
I think there are parts of this that look significantly better. I'm hoping it's not just, the water on the Sky Islands, but I think it's pretty consistent throughout. Like, even when Link came down from the sky, Fortnite style, he landed in the water and like drops went up and like there's definitely a lot of detail on.
Yeah, I think it looks better. I mean, does it look PS5? No, but I do think it looks really nice. I think there's some with the sky and stuff that does at least add a dramatically different aesthetic to the world. The clouds have to be, I think, more dynamic. And then if there is to be an underground, which in that trailer he's riding, like a minecart fighting somebody, he's down in some sort of magma layer. Let's touch on, there's a commercial that's leaked, and obviously we can't show it, but like a 30-second TV spot for Tears of the Kingdom leaked and got taken down, and there they do showcase even more of what looks to be the underground. So I don't know if this is Elden Ring style where there's just a whole underground under Tears of the Kingdom, but they did indicate in that gameplay demo that you keep referencing, remember they said like, oh, you can go in these caves, and at some point it seems like those caves get really big or take you really far down, and we do see Link dropping down through those laser maze. So I do feel like there is going to be sky, ground, and underground. And I think that everything with The Legend of Zelda has some sort of significance and correlation. So we've got 3 pieces of the Triforce, we've got Link, Zelda, and Ganon, and I think at some level sky, ground, and underground are going to correlate to Link, Zelda, and Ganon.
Yeah, and that's what I And that's like just very creative design on how to like use the same worlds and, you know, make it seem new again. The one pillar that I don't know if we've seen anything is underwater. I was really hoping for like underwater, like, dude, if they added underwater exploration and caves and stuff, that would be like a whole new layer. But yeah, my one thing, and I keep seeing it in my chat, performance, Zach.
I don't care. I love Pokemon Scarlet and Violet.
But I think there's a genuine concern here because Breath of the Wild, when people do the exploits and stuff, when they fling across the map or whatever,
right,
the game stops. It literally stops. It pauses and loads.
Well, they're not supposed to be doing that.
But now we have flying machines. I sound like out of my mind. There's flying machines, but like, how fast are those gonna go? Because like they look like they're going pretty fast. So like, are you worried at all about performance and like, because Nintendo has like their game, right? But then like when players actually do it and exploit things, like, do you think there's gonna be a big performance issue?
I think with every game, if you are able to find a way to sort of work outside the bounds, like, yes, that's gonna cause issues, but this is their tentpole title. This is their biggest release since the first, and so I think that everything that they have prescribed for the game, all the fusions they've intended, all of the vehicles they've intended will work flawlessly.
Yeah.
If there's some way that, you know, if you stack 3 vehicles on top of each other and then, you know, quickly switch from Ultra Hand to Fuse and you can like link, like, you know, something like that, then okay, sure, like that might cause it to tank, but I'm not concerned about performance. I don't think this is going to be another Pokemon Scarlet and Violet situation. I think, again, like, I just want to keep hammering over the head, like, how insane it is that they've got physics, vehicle fusion, weapon fusion, a massive world, potentially 3, you know, levels of this massive world. It really is just stupid impressive how they've packed all of that in. And remember, this isn't like, I don't want to say Minecraft because Minecraft has evolved in many ways, but this isn't just like a playground game, right? Like there will be quests, there will be boss battles, there will be story. This isn't just, oh, go screw around with vehicles and, you know, it's not a sandbox. Like there's a sandbox element, but this isn't just a, you know, indie Steam sandbox game. So I think incorporating those elements into a fully fleshed game, it's a huge risk. I hear a lot of developer talks about how like destruction is so difficult to implement. Like dynamic destruction, where you can, you know, like shoot down walls or break apart buildings. Like it's such a taxation on the performance, on the hardware. We know the Switch is not great hardware, and they're able to do something that seems to be beyond impressive. And I hope it pans out that there are just an insane amount of cool, clever. I mean, on the website it says that there's like creative and sometimes hilarious combinations. So I'm excited to see what some of the, you know, the hilarious ones are.
Oh, dude, I'm so excited. Performance-wise, I'm not worried north to south because they showed when they did the gameplay thing, Link jumped from the heavens and it was like a perfect dive. Like nothing went wrong. I'm worried east to west. I'm worried traversing the map with these machines. Like I'm hoping, I know it's not going to be perfect because we're talking Switch here, but I am a little worried, especially, you know, with people, I don't know, like if you attach 10 freaking engines on it, is it, you know, like,
I guess how limited is it, right? Like it looks like it's very much like there's slots and you put things in slots. So how crazy can you get? Are you able to put, like you said, like, can we put 50 fans on this one log and see what happens?
Yeah.
I also wonder if the vehicles, do they break over time? Like by the end of the game, is your world just going to be littered with, you know, all the vehicles that you've built just like still intact?
Yeah, that's true.
Or is it like a breaking thing like weapon damage? Do they eventually...
Well, they seem to have like a battery meter.
Yeah, so does that then they just vanish after that? Or...
Well, that's what the Blood Moon is for. Reset all that.
Oh, yeah. It's Ganon's like, cleanse this world of your stupid vehicles.
I do want to bring another thing up because I don't think I know your opinion on it, and I'm very interested now because it was such an early topic for this game.
Mm-hmm.
The price. $70 for a Nintendo Switch game. we can't really judge it as like, oh, it's $10 more, we're not buying this. Like, we're buying it regardless.
Right.
But what kind of a message or trend is this, like, from Nintendo? Like, how do you feel about that?
I mean, I think it is a little shady. I don't think $70 video games in general are shady, but I do think the fact that Nintendo, they're not providing an upgraded hardware experience. Like, the justification for the $70 PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X and S games is, hey, development costs are going up. You know, look at the hardware, look at the teams that we need for the art assets, look at all this. I have zero problem paying $70 because games have been $60 for so long, but I do think the only reason they're doing this is because they can. I think that there is, like, I have no problem. Zelda's going to be great. It'll probably be a 10 out of 10. Like, no one is going to think twice about, man, this was a $59.99 game. Like, no one's going to feel that way after playing it.
No.
But it is shady of Nintendo to be like, well, other people are doing it. Everyone's going to buy Zelda. And it's not a system-wide move, right? They've said we'll judge, based on the game. Like, they've already, shown, like, Pikmin 4 is 60 and things of that sort. So it very much is like, hey, we can pull one over, so let's do it. Let's try it. And I really feel it's just prepping the market for their next system where everything will be 70.
Yeah. And, like, yeah, I get it. Like, there's much more time and, effort put into this. Don't tell Nintendo more effort was put into this game. But, like, okay, that's fine. Let's have, like, these amazing, crazy games like Metroid Prime. If that new one launches, I'm expecting that to be 70. But on the other side of things, wait a second. Why is Kirby's Return to Dreamland 60? Like, if we're going to, like, up the price of one, we got to, like, look at the other end of things. Like, why is Advanced Wars 60? Like, should that be 30 or 40? Like, it's a remaster. So that's my only problem. But my biggest problem is it's still on the Switch hardware. There's only so much you can get out of these games. So, like, if this was launching on a new console and it was 70, okay, that would be fine.
Yeah. Well, that's why it's weird, because I don't know that it's ever been done, except back in the era where I know, like, Pokemon Stadium on 64 was 70 because it had, like, the expansion pack and whatnot, and game prices there were just much more volatile. But nowadays, nobody is upping the price mid-console cycle, and
yeah, it's strange.
I mean, maybe it's just a calculated decision so that when they do drop the next system and everything's 70, that's not a press point. Like, there's not articles about Nintendo upping their price. Well, they already did, so yeah. I mean, I could see them doing it for Metroid Prime 4. I cannot think of another game that they do it for, though. So I really feel this is just like we can get $10 extra on 40 million copies of Tears of the Kingdom, so let's do it. Like,
that's the thing.
That's
like,
a lot of money.
It's not just $10 because, like, okay, 70 is the base. You're probably looking at a $30 expansion.
Yeah.
It's a $100 game. This is a $100 game. And I know we're all buying the special editions and, like, crazy. Well, I'm not because I can't find it. But, 30. This is a $100 game now.
Yeah, this is like a $700 game for me, or $600 with the console, with the Pro Controller, with the special edition. Like, it's insanely expensive. But for better or worse,
this is going to be a case by case thing, though. Like, is Metroid going to be 70? New Smash Bros. And, like, certain games will
I mean,
that, or?
They've said as much that it will be a case-by-case basis. I think Nintendo is really the only console or the only company, platform holder that struggles with this because, like you said, Advance Wars. Okay, should Advance Wars be the same price as Pikmin 4? I don't know. I don't feel like we have that issue as much with first-party PlayStation games because they're usually all insanely epic. We don't have that issue as much with first-party Xbox games because they don't ever put them out. But we do have that issue with Switch where it's like, okay, Kirby's Return to Dreamland 60, Animal Crossing New Horizons 60, Breath of the Wild 60.
Like a 6-hour Yoshi game.
Yeah.
Is, like, it's weird.
But it'll never be the case where it's like, oh, Zelda's 70, Yoshi's 30 because Nintendo won't devalue. Like, they know they can get that amount. I mean, it's just also hard to compare games. Like, we could look and say, well, look how basic Animal Crossing item placement was, and in Zelda you can fuse things together and they all have different effects. In Animal Crossing, we're trying to turn perfect, to, like, lay things down like, this is the ancient times. So it's hard to compare. I think that Nintendo very keenly understood that there was hundreds of millions of dollars that they could have for free if they just bumped the price. And if you really want to blame somebody, I guess blame Sony and Microsoft for, starting this a year or two ago with some of the next gen exclusives.
And then Nintendo was like, wait a second, guys, you remember those digital vouchers we have?
That is a good deal.
It is a good deal. 2 vouchers for $100, and you get 2 digital games. Tears of the Kingdom is one of those. So you're saving money there. I mean, you're saving like $30 if you get those vouchers in, use one for Tears of the Kingdom. I think that's great, but there's a lot of physical collectors too, so.
When's the last time you bought a physical Switch game?
Oh, dude, I buy all my first-party Switch games.
Okay, yeah. All right.
When's the last? Oh my God! Wait a second. Can I guess? 2019.
I mean, I did get Animal Crossing New Horizons physical.
Okay.
So that's probably the last one. Yeah, I used to have a decently sized collection, but I don't know. It's just so much easier.
Soon there's not going to be a point.
Yeah.
A lot of the Switch games already have like download code inside, and then you get an empty box. Like that, I don't get. But Nintendo games.
And I lose the cartridges. Like I lost my Breath of the Wild cartridge. I had to go rebuy that because I lost the cartridge. So, I mean, I'll get the special edition, but yeah, if it wasn't for that, I would probably just get this. It's just easier. It's just kind of the way of the world right now.
Yeah, if anyone in chat has any questions or comments,
concerns,
you want us to react to about your maybe Tears of the Kingdom hot takes, Tears of the Kingdom thoughts, do it up.
Tell us we're right. Tell us we're wrong. Yeah, give us.
You guys are wrong.
Give us all the lowdown. I think we didn't touch on it today, but I do think at some point, like next week, we will address the rampant leaks and the fact that they do seem to be escalating from, someone leaked a GameStop employee is getting fired for leaking that there was like new Nintendo hardware coming, and then the art book leak, they're chasing after them on Discord. There's a commercial leak. I would not be surprised if there are more leaks. I feel like this is like, for some reason, Zelda is just drawing a lot of fire. Morton asks, where are the bombs? Haven't seen any bombs yet in the any of the trailer.
I'm hoping there's no bombs.
No, you don't think there's any bombs?
Well, I would prefer item bombs. I feel like a lot of people use that bomb power like over the top, like, which is, I mean, whatever, use what you got, but I'm hoping there's like physical bombs again. Like, let's go back a little bit. I would like that.
As opposed to ethereal bombs.
Yeah. Here's a good question. Do you think the story of this game will make sense if you haven't played Breath of the Wild? Tears of the Kingdom. Should you play Breath of the Wild to understand this? I would say yes. You'd still have a great time with this, but I feel like a lot is going to go over your head initially.
Is this a spicy take to say that in general, though, the story is...
Don't you dare.
Okay. Don't. Walk it back.
You're not.
I'm gonna use recall here. All right, we're gonna rewind that.
There's not a ton of story, but I don't know. I feel like you would be fine. Just some references. In general.
I think you would be totally fine. You won't get as much out of it, but I don't think in any way are you required to go play Breath of the Wild before this.
Yeah. And this game is just DLC anyway, so you should probably play Breath of the Wild. But no, well, okay, one thing that you are probably going to not appreciate as much, play Breath of the Wild. That's like the biggest thing. But like the world has evolved, so it's like if you played Breath of the Wild, you might be like, "Oh, this was different this time." So I feel like a lot of people that played Breath of the Wild previously are going to get a lot more out of this game.
I also think that, maybe as just if you're one of those people that feel like, okay, why is it 70? It does look very similar. If you're having any of those thoughts and the last trailer didn't, squash that for you, put a little time into Breath of the Wild, because then I think when you do play Tears of the Kingdom, you'll be like, okay, it looks better, it runs better, it's vastly different, and I think that actual comparison will be helpful. Let's see. Zerer says, I hope we can find Picori or Minish folk in the game. What do you guys think about that? Those mushrooms were strongly giving Minish vibes. And there's definitely some interesting things in the art book about mushrooms. I don't know that there's going to be like a whole Minish world or something, but I think that it could be very cool if they do make some references, or if there's like a quest line. It's on GBA, right? On the Switch Online? Yeah, so I mean, it would be nifty if
that was recently added. So
yeah, it'd be nifty if Nintendo did reference that. I mean, I'm super down for that. I think that they're one of the coolest sort of Capcom did a fantastic job with that game and that world, and very different characters.
Yeah, Mike says watch all the memory scenes on YouTube. That's another option. But I really do think that if you explored this world for any amount of time, seeing new additions to it or things that are taken away, like I think that's the feeling I think they want you to have with this. Victoria says, is there anything you will be disappointed about if you don't see it in the upcoming game?
Yes, dungeons. 1,000,000%.
Dungeons?
It's a huge letdown for me.
Yeah. Dungeons aren't make or break for me, but I do think that to further separate this from Breath of the Wild, not that I'm like looking for reasons, but yeah, dungeons I think would be a nice addition. Yeah, I do want more story. I will piggyback off what you were saying. I do want more story that aren't just in the forms of memories, and I don't think we're gonna get that. I think we're gonna get actual like dialogue and stuff.
Here, look, the dungeons thing, like, dungeons have been a massive part of Zelda for eternity, and Breath of the Wild was a departure, and I do understand that, and that's, like, fine and dandy, but I would just be very sad to lose that entire element of the Legend of Zelda franchise going forward. Not to say that they're always going to make the same game, but they really can't go back to a super linear thing after this, right? Like, they have, like, it would feel so bad, in the same way that, like, they're between a rock and a hard place with Smash Bros. Of, like, how do you return from Ultimate? How do you return from Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom if you're going to say, well, it's linear? So I want the item gains and the puzzle gains and for me, like, I remember Zelda games based on dungeons, I think, more than the world. And obviously that flipped for Breath of the Wild, but I still would love to have that memory where it's like, remember when we were in the fire dungeon, just like people remember the water temple from Ocarina of Time. Like, like it would be great to have those touchstones, those set pieces. And I do think it would allow these developers to really flex their muscles. We see it in shrines, but a full-blown dungeon, you were kind of touching on this, like, that's an opportunity for them to really go deeper, bigger, more, involved with puzzles and traversal and kind of everything that they started in BOTW.
And Alexa says, what exactly is a dungeon compared to shrines? Yeah, if you're new, Breath of the Wild is your first game. Dungeons are basically just like bigger sort of labyrinth areas. They're usually themed, which is my favorite. But it's kind of like, if you've only played Breath of the Wild, it's kind of like the Divine Beast, where it's like a bigger puzzle with like smaller things to collect or whatever. But that was always a highlight. The shrines are fine, but they're very like one-dimensional. Like, usually they have like a very specific theme to them. But usually when you go in a dungeon, you have like a new piece of equipment or something. So you're like using that new skill to get through the dungeon. I
think that's the biggest thing, right? Is like, okay, you get the hook shot, and now this dungeon is going to have all these puzzles with the hook shot. Or you get, the boomerang, and so you're going to have to require that in a lot of your puzzle solving. And that kind of element was, to me, like, that makes Zelda.
They just need theming, though. Like, if we get dungeons without theming, like, what's really the point? Because
you're telling me you didn't like being in these generic mechanical animals?
No. They're just, it's like mechanical or like old columns. Like, after a while, it's very one note. Like, and it doesn't have to be crazy, but like maybe a dungeon can have just like a bunch of vines, and you have to like burn stuff. I don't know, but the theming just wasn't good in Breath of the Wild. That's one of my things.
It looks like they are going to remedy that with the sky stuff, with the underground stuff. I mean, there's clearly a sequence with I'm blanking on Bird Boy's name, but it's all like snowy in the sky. There's that giant ice spider. There's snow coming down. There's the flying ships, big like pirate ships coming through. So it does seem like they are leaning more into like, let's have diverse areas. And, you know, I guess the only alternative to me to dungeons that would be okay is like weird world dungeons. And I don't know how exactly that's accomplished, but if, for example, you start a quest and it starts snowing and you go to a special area that it's not like in a temple, but it's, you know what I mean? Like it's snowing. This is unique. This area, like that would be fine as well. But yeah, I pray for dungeons.
Do you think there's a chance we could get any of the champion abilities back? M asked this. Revali's Gale, Urbosa's Fury. Has that been... Didn't they say like we would be getting more of our older powers? I feel like they said something.
I don't know if there's any specific verbiage on that.
Would you want that? Would you want like a... But we would already have them, right? Because this is like the future, so that would be a lot to give us right away.
Yeah, I've thought a lot about like, should they have new powers combined with old powers? And I guess at the end of the day, I would rather have a full suite of new powers than old.
Yeah.
I mean, like, it would be nice to have all of it, like, if they give us everything. But if the choice is between you can have 4 new and 4 old or 8 new, I would, you know, whatever the numbers end up being, I would rather have all new abilities. And I don't know that they feel as, like, logical about it. Like, oh, well, Link should already have these things. Because he also should already have, I mean, I don't know, maybe they have some story explanation. He gets hit in the head, and he loses his Sheikah Slate, he, you know. The answer is no. I don't think they'll be back.
Yeah. Yeah, I just feel like it would be kind of like, at that point, it's like, oh, I'm still playing Breath of the Wild.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know. A lot of those were very unique, and like, I kind of look at the powers, like the one where you can like go up to the top of the cave. Like that's kind of like, I guess, this game's version of the Revali power, because like Revali, you can just like go up in the wind, but like, yeah, I wouldn't really like that. Ooh, this is a good one. Genesis says, Link is constantly riding on a Falcon machine that doesn't look to be built by Ultra Hand. That is true.
Yes.
How do you think Link obtains it?
I would love it to be from a dungeon, but I'm guessing it's
Yeah, like that's super weird. Like, is it just in the world naturally?
We haven't talked about this, but I do feel like overall the story is going to center around the tears, and we do see Sidon with a tear on his wrist. We see it looks like Ganon has a tear on his forehead. Zelda has a tear necklace. So I do think that gathering the tears, or, you know, finding the tears is going to be the big thing. So perhaps it just is plot based, like, oh, you found the sky tier. No, it is weird though, because what do you call that? Do you summon that? It almost looks like it's gonna be like Zonai tech or something. But yeah, how would you put that away, or where does it go? What it was giving me...
I think that's the beauty. That's the beauty of this show in general, because there's so many like weird, goofy things where it's like, wait, how do we get to that tower with lasers in it? Like, you know, there's so much. There's going to be so much traversal and exploration in this game that it's just, there's a lot to be asked. There's a lot of mystery. But yeah, that I have seen that in pretty much every promo trailer. It's like, how do we...
I also wonder if there are, I mean, if there is some sort of time travel, if there is going back in time, are there going to be specific things that only exist in that? Like, for example, let's say Link goes back 100 years or 1,000 years to, you know, cut baby Ganon's umbilical cord early. Like, do they have, like, do the Zonai give him that there, but you can't take it back? I don't know. I think that's one of my biggest questions is, are there special instance areas that are different for time travel or another world? It very much seems like Zelda's in another world. Flamed wants to know if... Are you laughing? Okay. Flamed wants to know if we'll get that motorcycle from the DLC. Like, because in theory, Link should have that, right? Like,
no, I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
I think that everything that you're going to be able to travel on or with is going to be built. Yeah. It's going to be... 100%. That would be cool, though. I mean, well, we'll touch on this next episode because we got to talk about what possible DLC will be in this game. But we'll see.
I love how everyone's so obsessed with DLC. Like, the game isn't even out. It's going to be huge.
But the DLC added so much to Breath of the Wild. Like, think of Breath of the Wild without the DLC.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it'd still be great, but I don't know, man. The DLC was pretty good. So, well, we'll talk about that another time.
Yeah. I want to ask the chat, who's your favorite Kid of the Kingdom? Is it Child Link, gamer with the hoodie? Is it high school bubblegum princess Zelda? Or is it emo depressed rocker boy Ganon?
What a heartthrob.
Yeah, look at that hair, man.
So we should discuss the time of the. It's going to change the time, day?
I don't know.
Where can they see us?
We should, yeah. Well, is Saturday?
I like the time.
You like Saturday? When did we do Nook Talk? Was Nook Talk like Thursday or?
Yeah, Nook Talk was something crazy like that. Next Saturday might not work though because I'm moving.
Okay.
So we'll get
You're really gonna skip Kids of the Kingdom for moving, Pat? Jeez.
I'm not gonna skip it.
1 week, and this is what you do. All right.
I'll have my webcam propped up on boxes and stuff.
Yeah, you can
but we
live
do want to
stream.
get guests on.
Yes, we do.
We want to get guests on. Zelda tubers on here. Schooling us for lore. But yeah, I'll get my box set up so I don't miss Kids of the Kingdom.
Should we swap it to like Thursday or something?
What do you guys think about this time? Obviously you're here, so you love it, but I don't know.
I mean, weekends are nice, but I was just saying we will absolutely adjust it. We're not going to do Zelda comes out on Friday, well, technically Thursday, and then we podcast on Saturday. But I guess we could adjust it just for that week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll announce it. It's going to be weekly though. Pat is too much of a free spirit for schedules. I like structure, but scheduling every video and stream, I don't like that.
You still do that? You still just, well, I'm streaming.
So I've been good. I've been like, scheduled streams or whatever, but I'm not going to put out a weekly schedule.
Yeah. That's hard.
Imagine you doing that and you have to like hit all those.
No.
Hell no.
No. I mean, I sort of have a schedule like every day, but I get what you're saying. Like streams is that's the people who.
Colleen says Saturday should be fine if I could figure out how to set up the internet. We just unplug it and plug it back in.
Well, they have to probably activate it, right? Like at your new.
Yeah, we already called them.
Oh,
but
it's
the same
okay.
box. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I like Saturdays. Now that I have a part-time job, it's my weekdays are a bit busier. My weekend means a little bit more for the first time in forever.
We might adjust it based on whoever we have on. Like
sure.
Maybe the day can't work, but yeah, it'll be consistent. We'll let you guys know.
We're gonna have Awanuma on next week.
Yeah.
That guy who's voicing Ganon that people were excited about the next week.
We're gonna have the trailer narrator.
That's a cool guy. Where's he from? What's his story? What's he all about?
Yeah, the translator on here. Be great.
I got the Miyamoto connection. We could get him on. Ask him. Where is he? There he is. He drew Link.
That would be amazing.
So before we close out here, are you doing anything to adopt Zelda as a personality? Because that's been my mission the last couple of weeks, and that's my mission for the next couple of weeks is I'm getting all the shirts. I'm getting the here. Let me. I got my my Breath of the Wild poster back there. I
like it.
I got the ears, as you've probably seen.
I've been replaying Breath of the Wilds. It's very new to me still. Like I've beaten it. But the last time I really dove into it was probably like 2019, 2018. So like
a long time.
Going back into it. I never did the Trial of the Sword, so that's going to be new, and the other DLC. So that's what I'm doing now. I've been binging that. I'm 3 Divine Beasts in, so.
Yeah, it's pretty cool also that we get the console. I don't know. I feel like that's a nice little like half birthday, little
yeah,
appetizer.
What day is that?
That's the 28th. So that's in
okay.
2 weeks, and the game's in 4 weeks. So yeah, that'll be nice. Yeah, if you guys have any suggestions for guests, you can always send those our way. Kids of the Kingdom is going to be a regular thing, and it will continue beyond the game's release. I don't know if we made that clear, but yeah, this isn't like just like a 4 week. This has no limited series. We are on HBO over here. This will be a long time thing, and I hope you guys like the art. We were really happy with the art and the name, the background, and everything. And yeah, a good kickoff, I think, for what is bound to be crazy. I think it's just crazy. Like I feel like that's going to be the main thing about this game with the fusing is like it's just crazy.
Yep,
and that's fun. So thank you guys and girls. Go ahead.
No, I'm just very excited about it. I could literally talk for hours more.
Well, we'll do that next Saturday.
We will,
probably, barring a move. Are you moving? Are you moving to the Sky Islands? Or are you moving underground? What are you doing?
Sky Islands.
Okay.
I got a nice view of the of Hyrule. So.
Oh, okay.
Pricey. It was $70, but yeah. Should be good.
Man, oh man, I remember back in the day when I paid $100 for a Super Nintendo game. So, $70 for a place is pretty nice though. My mortgage is a lot more than that. So you found the good. Hyrule's got good rates.
Yeah.
We didn't even talk about a lot of things from that trailer, including who is Zelda lookalike Zonai chick and evil Zonai creature. So lots to talk about. I'm sure there'll be interesting leaks and more. Until next week, though, everybody, thank you so much for joining us. We are all Kids the Kingdom, and we'll see y'all next time.
See you later.